Before June 2020, TikTok was more than just an app in India. It was honestly a cultural phenomenon. It had woven itself into the very fabric of daily life for over 200 million people, a staggering figure that represented its largest user base anywhere in the world. This platform was a vibrant, chaotic, and endlessly creative digital stage where anyone, regardless of their background, could find a voice and an audience. From bustling metropolises like Mumbai to the quietest villages in rural India, people were dancing, singing, sharing comedy skits, and offering life hacks in short, looping videos. It was a space that had successfully democratized fame, turning ordinary individuals into celebrated creators overnight. The platform's true power lay in its accessibility. It didn't require expensive equipment or professional training. All you needed was a basic smartphone and an idea. This simplicity opened doors for millions who had been left out of the traditional media landscape. People from marginalized communities, lower-income households, and remote regions found a unique space for self-expression and connection. For many, TikTok was not just entertainment. It was a window into different lives, a tool for learning new skills, and a community that offered validation and a sense of belonging in a rapidly changing digital India. Then, on June 29, 2020, the music stopped. The Indian government, citing grave concerns over national security and data privacy, announced a sudden and sweeping ban on TikTok and 58 other Chinese-owned applications. The decision came amidst escalating geopolitical tensions and a violent border clash between Indian and Chinese soldiers in the Galwan Valley. The government stated that these apps were prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India, defense of India, security of state and public order. The move was decisive and implemented with remarkable speed, sending shockwaves across the country's digital ecosystem. For users and creators, the ban was a jarring and abrupt end to a world they had built. Overnight, the platform that served as a primary source of income, a creative outlet and a social hub, simply vanished. App stores removed it, and internet service providers were ordered to block access. The digital stage that had been so full of life went silent. This wasn't just the removal of an app. It was the erasure of a vast, interconnected community, leaving millions of its participants to wonder what they were supposed to do next in the sudden and unexpected quiet. In the vacuum left by TikTok's departure, a frantic scramble began. Both global tech giants and homegrown Indian startups saw a golden opportunity to capture a massive displaced audience hungry for short-form video content. The race to become the next TikTok was on, and the market was flooded with new contenders. Instagram, owned by Meta, moved swiftly to launch its Reels feature in India, leveraging its existing user base of millions. Similarly, Google's YouTube accelerated the rollout of Shorts, integrating it seamlessly into its colossal video platform. These global players had the advantage of established infrastructure and brand recognition. Simultaneously, a wave of Indian patriotism spurred the rapid development of local alternatives. Apps like Moj, Josh, Chingari, and Raposo were catapulted into the spotlight, marketing themselves as homegrown solutions for a newly Atmanirbhar or self-reliant India. They mirrored TikTok's features, from the vertical video feed to the editing tools and music libraries, hoping to replicate its addictive formula. These platforms received significant venture capital funding and were aggressively promoted, quickly amassing tens of millions of downloads as users searched for a replacement for their beloved app. The digital landscape transformed into a battleground for user attention. However, recreating the magic of TikTok proved to be a monumental challenge. While platforms like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts successfully onboarded a large number of creators and users, they struggled to replicate the unique culture that had defined their predecessor. TikTok's algorithm was renowned for its almost psychic ability to serve users content they would love, creating highly personalized and addictive For You pages. The algorithms of the new platforms, while functional, often felt less intuitive, and the sense of community was more fragmented. Many creators found it difficult to regain the same level of engagement and organic reach they had enjoyed on TikTok. For the Indian apps, the struggle was even more pronounced. Despite their initial surge in popularity, they faced challenges with technology, content moderation, and monetization. They found it hard to compete with the polished user experience and vast resources of their global counterparts. While they carved out a niche, none managed to achieve the sheer scale or cultural dominance that TikTok had commanded. The audience was split across multiple platforms, and the unified digital stage where all of India seemed to gather was replaced by a series of smaller, disconnected theaters, each with its own audience and stars. The TikTok ban was not just a cultural event, It triggered significant economic tremors that rippled through India's burgeoning digital economy. For a new generation of creators, TikTok had become a viable and often lucrative career path. Influencers, even those with relatively modest followings, were earning a steady income through brand partnerships, sponsored content, and live streaming gifts. Businesses, from small local shops to large multinational corporations, had discovered the platform as a powerful and cost-effective marketing tool to reach young, engaged consumers. The ban dismantled this entire ecosystem virtually overnight, leaving both creators and brands scrambling to adapt. The impact was felt most acutely by creators from small towns and rural areas. TikTok had been a great leveler, providing economic opportunities to individuals who had been excluded from traditional career paths. People like Winnie Sangma from a small town in Meghalaya, or Rajib Dutta from a village in West Bengal, had built massive followings and were supporting their families through their content. When the ban hit, their primary source of income disappeared. They were forced to migrate to other platforms like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, but this migration was far from seamless. They had to rebuild their audience from scratch, and many found that their unique regional content didn't resonate as strongly on these more globally focused platforms. For businesses and marketing agencies, the landscape became more complex and expensive. TikTok's unique algorithm had allowed brands to achieve viral reach with relatively small budgets. Now, they had to spread their marketing spend across multiple platforms to reach the same audience, often with lower returns on investment. The cost of influencer marketing on platforms like Instagram was generally higher, making it less accessible for smaller businesses. The ban effectively re-centralized marketing power in the hands of more established platforms, reversing the democratizing trend that TikTok had championed and making the digital advertising space more challenging to navigate. Ultimately, the ban reshaped the creator economy in India. While many creators have since found success on other platforms, the ecosystem is different. It is arguably less diverse and more concentrated around mainstream urban influencers who were already popular on platforms like Instagram. The dream of a farmer in Punjab or a dancer in a remote village becoming a national sensation solely through their creativity became a little more distant. The economic ladder that TikTok had extended to the grassroots of India was pulled up, and while new ladders were put in place, they didn't always reach the same people. India's decisive action against TikTok stands in stark contrast to the prolonged and convoluted approach taken by the United States. While both nations cited similar concerns about national security and data harvesting, their methods have been vastly different. India's government, empowered by its Information Technology Act, was able to implement a swift and comprehensive ban with little public debate or legal challenge. The executive order was final, and the platform was effectively erased from the country's digital sphere within days, setting a powerful global precedent for what is known as digital sovereignty. The United States, on the other hand, has been entangled in a much slower and more complex process shaped by its legal and constitutional framework. The primary American strategy has not been an outright ban, but a push for a forced sale, compelling ByteDance to divest its U.S. operations to a non-Chinese entity. This approach reflects a different philosophy, one that attempts to mitigate security risks while preserving the platform for its millions of American users. However, this path has been fraught with legal battles, with TikTok challenging the legislation on First Amendment grounds, arguing that it infringes on free speech rights. The discrepancy highlights fundamental differences in governance and legal systems. India's legal framework grants the government broad powers to act in the interest of national security, allowing for rapid, top-down decisions. In contrast, the US system, with its strong protections for free speech and corporate rights, requires a more deliberative and legally defensible process. The ongoing saga in the US demonstrates the difficulty of regulating powerful tech platforms within a democratic system that prioritizes due process and individual liberties, a process that is still unfolding as of mid-2025. The broader implications of these divergent paths are significant. India's ban demonstrated that a government could successfully decouple its digital ecosystem from a major global tech player, fundamentally altering its market and setting a template for other nations concerned about the influence of foreign technology. It raised profound questions about the balance between national security, economic protectionism, and internet freedom. As the world continues to grapple with the power of big tech and the geopolitics of data, the story of what happened after India banned TikTok serves as a critical case study on the future of digital governance, privacy, and free expression.